Hey guys, Westloar here, and this is the first in my series of Don't Starve tutorials. Today we're going to be looking at how not to starve and the basics you need to survive in the first few days. And then we're going to be moving on in later episodes, how to pick a location to set up camp, how to get some of the more advanced items and get ready to take on the bigger challenges of Don't Starve. So, without further ado, let's look at how not to starve. Okay, so we're going to be starting a new game for this tutorial. I'm going to use Wilson. I'm going to take a quick look at other characters we could be using. The other character I recommend for a new player, if you've unlocked it, would be the Strongman. He hits harder and he has more health, and he doesn't get hungry as much because he has a bigger stomach, although he is harder to get full. So he's very good early on for getting silk and honey, because he can kill the spiders and bees respectively quite easily. But for the purpose of the tutorial, we are going to choose Wilson. And I'm not going to customize the world, just going to leave it as it is and play in a standard world. Go away, Maxwell. No one likes you. Okay, so there's a few things we need to ensure our survival to start with. I'm just going to be picking up everything I can see, basically, so you know. Basically, the first thing we need is a science machine, followed by a crock pot, alchemy engine, and then the optionals are a fire pit and a flower garland. And that all takes a lot of resources, so to set ourselves up we actually need 7 gold nuggets, 20 wood, 19 stone, 6 charcoal and 6 extra branches on top of what we need them for in the first place. Now that may sound a lot, but usually you can get those in the first day or two, and you don't have to really worry about food in those days either, so you can just focus on getting your resources. You notice here I'm actually picking up berries and carrots. Berries will be my basic sustenance while I'm finding my resources. I don't want to eat too many of them because I will be using them in recipes later. And I'm picking up carrots because that's how I'm going to catch my meat, using the traps in survival, which will catch you rabbits. And each carrot will make a trap that lasts for 5 or 6 captures, so it's much more efficient to use them to capture food than it is to eat them, as they only heal about 12.5 hunger. So, right, what I'm going to do here is build a pickaxe. Hopefully this rock will drop me a gold nugget. It doesn't, but the rocks we do need anyway, and the flint is also very useful to have. Oh, it does! Fantastic! Surprise gold nugget. We're also going to pick up seeds ready for the farm that we're going to make later. Okay, right. So what we're going to look for first is a rock field to get the rocks and the gold nuggets that we need, because those are the rarest items that we need to set ourselves up. Of course, along the way we're going to be picking up as much as we can, saves foraging later. As I mentioned earlier, we're not really going to be making any food apart from eating berries. We don't really need to worry about that the first couple of days. So, to survive off berries. The reason for that is because once we've actually set up, we're going to be making some fairly high yield food. So we'll be making meatballs, which heal, let me just try and remember, 62.5 hunger. So, yeah, we're not going to really be needing any of the berries and stuff later, or any of the smaller food items. Now this is the touchstone. Fantastic and very useful if you can find one early game. Basically what it does, if you die you will respawn at a touchstone, so it's essentially a static meat figure that you don't have to do anything to build, so happy days. Right. Now this is an area that usually contains rock, but it's only very small, so it doesn't, which is not great. So I'm just going to run around and see if I can find myself some rock. Okay, So at the end of this particular bit of the island, what I may do is I may just take a jump through this wormhole that I just saw down here. Wormholes actually decrease your sanity by jumping through them, but sometimes can lead you to rock fields filled with gold nuggets and stuff like that, so it's worth the risk. Also worth bearing in mind there's often higher level mobs behind the wormhole as well. But they are two-way, so it's not too much of a risk. Let's see what I find. That was not a sane thing to do. No, it was not. Okay, it's transporting me quite far. Let's see what we can find over here. Okay, well, it's getting late. Well, I've found Pig Village, which is always good. And they tend to have a lot of crops available somewhere within the village. Just give this a bit of an explore. Now you'll notice it's now evening, but you don't necessarily need to build a fire yet, because early on in the game there won't be any nasty beasties that are spawned yet. They will spawn, like spiders will spawn near their nests and stuff like that, but as long as you don't bother them, well, there's one there. As long as you don't bother them too much, they won't give chase. I'm just going to make an axe here so I can chop down this wood. So if I do find something I want to camp by, I can, and if I don't, well, if I find myself in a sticky situation, I can just make a fire anyway. So notice as well I'm actually picking up the pine cones. Now they do take up inventory space and you can plant trees on them, but the main reason I'm actually picking them up is when you find yourself harvesting a lot of wood, you will end up summoning a tree guardian at some point, which is the nasty boss monster. Does a lot of damage, very hard to kill, and the best way to actually deal with them is to plant trees around them, which makes them revert back to their original state as long as you don't attack them again. So it's always useful to have a relatively big stack of pine cones with you. Okay, so we're just going to run along here, see what we can find, because those gold nuggets are really important to us to start with. Resource wise we're okay. We're just going to keep running. We don't really want to piss off those spiders, so we can't do much to defeat them at the moment. We can probably take on a spider, maybe two, by kiting them, which is the best way to kill them anyway, but not advisable, as we have nothing to heal our health early on, and a few bad hits will be all it takes. Is this a different pig village? It is a different pig village. Okay, cool. I'm just going to nick some of their stuff. We'll remember this because huge berry farm here, which is very helpful. Slightly annoying, I've not really found any stone yet. Don't really want to be going into the swamp. Right, I think we're just going to have to go off road, go south a bit. Oh, there's a spider. Oh, right. Really got any choices? Build a torch. There we go. Just going to go exploring at night, see what I can find. Spiders apparently. Just keep moving. Hopefully they will give up chase. Don't run into the spider's nest, that's generally a bad idea, and I've just found the end of this island, which is also not great. So, keep moving. Oh, found more spiders. This is suboptimal. Pigs are fighting the spiders over there. It's quite difficult to see where you're going at night, funnily enough. Okay, just going to run quickly through the swamp. It's only a small one. Okay, and we're back to where we started, so all in all, this has been a bad first day. We'll go explore south. Now early on it is a good idea to ignore night, build a torch and go running around and see what you can find, so you can set yourself up quicker. Run some setup, I usually just carry on building my resources, and oh, that's not good. Build, come on, quicker. There we go. Later on, once I'm set up, I won't bother, because I'll have too much to do at night, making food, crafting, that sort of thing. I'm just going to eat a few berries. I'm starting to get hungry. Okay. Here's hoping we have a better second day. Now I could have already set up and built my science machine, but oops, cancelled that. Didn't want to do that. But really, once I set up, I want to be building everything I need to build and then get on and do what I need to do. So instead of building, then foraging, then building, I'm just going to do most of my foraging early on. Let's just pick up these flowers actually, and then I can get on with what I need to do. So I need 12 flowers for this garland, which is very good. It's a early sanity item, and what it will do is, over time, it will restore your sanity, which is good. You lose sanity and don't starve by doing things, well, generally by not doing things that are creative. Oh, fantastic rock field. And then, so stuff like, also uncivilized stuff like eating uncooked food. Gold nugget, it's a good start. Eating cooked food does restore your sanity a little bit, but not by much, which is why the garland is actually very good early game. What happens when you get low sanity? Well, you'll start to see apparitions, and if your sanity gets low enough, they actually attack you as well, so you want to be careful to keep your sanity fairly high for that reason. Also, it just sits on your head, and early game you don't generally have any other head items, so you might as well build one. Okay, pickaxe broke. Let's build another one. There's a lot of rocks here, so hopefully we'll be finding my gold nuggets soon. But at the same time, we are picking up a lot of stone, which is good. Just picked up the nitro there just to see if there's a gold nugget hiding there, and there's one here. Good. Alright, that's 3 out of 7. 4. This is going well. I'm just picking up the flint as well. We'll notice you're going to have a lot of flint by the end of this, but that's good because you're going to be using a lot of it. And just going around and finding flint is a bit of a waste of time when you've got better stuff to do. So hopefully I'll have my gold nugget by the end of this now. Yes, I get that you're hungry, Wilson. Stop complaining. I've actually started my second stack of rocks now, so I'm going to have plenty enough to build my fire pit and to build improved farm straight away rather than going to basic farm and then improving those. So that's very good because that will help us get our crops much quicker, which is great. I mean, hopefully we're going to be the plant that we want most to start with will be either carrots or eggplants. Carrots because as much as you can find them on the ground, there's only a limited amount of them. They have a long spawn time, so that'll curtail our rabbit catching potential if we don't find more. And eggplants, because once cooked they actually heal the same amount as a healing salve, which is much harder to make, so they're very valuable. And of course we're left needing one more. Oh, there's one last rock. Will that be the one? Will this rock be my saviour? There it is. Come on, rock, I'm relying on you. Yes, it is. Of course it's the last place you look. Right, we've still got some time before nightfall, so let's get some of the wood that we need. And pick the biggest trees. Again, making sure to pick up the pine cones. Now this may seem like a very slow start to the game, and a lot of you who've played this probably have a lot more in terms of craftables and structures by now. But I think this is probably the best way to start. Get you up and running and ready to play. Right, let's just finish chopping this quickly. Okay, and build a campfire there, so we can continue harvesting wood. Sorry, my phone's going off, not good. There we go. Sorry about that. Alright, so usually I wouldn't chop these trees down, but it's night time and you can't chop trees while holding a torch because it holds the same inventory slot, so that's why I build a fire and just continue chopping, because I will need all of this wood. A reason why the fire pit is optional, it's not anymore because we've got enough stone, is because it takes so much stone. It actually takes 12 stone to build a fire pit. What a fire pit does, it's actually a fire that you can't move. Now that may seem like a disadvantage, but it takes a lot more resources to light a standard campfire than it does a fire pit, and also a fire pit lasts longer with the resources that you put in it, so it saves you a lot of time and resources going out chopping down wood. So it's well recommended to get one. My fire's almost going out here, but it's almost the end of the night, so I'm not going to bother refueling it. It's a waste of wood at the moment. Just on the edge of the darkness here. Should be able to pick up those fine. Oh no, it's daytime now anyway. Right, so we've got our gold nuggets, we've got our stone. Have we got our branches? No, we don't have our branches, so we need those. We also don't have a charcoal. Charcoal is fairly easy to get hold of. Have I still got a torch? I've still got a torch. Okay, well this is how we get charcoal. Very easy. Light some trees. Probably don't get burned by them. That's not a great idea. Wait for them to burn. Where's my pickaxe? I mean my axe. There's my axe. Okay, and fantastic, it's dropped ashes as well. At this point I think I'm going to just drop these petals, because I won't have enough room for the ashes and charcoal. And the reason ashes is so important is because although eggplants are better for making healing cells, you still use ashes to make healing cells from the spider glands and stuff like that, and they're useful to have. So let's have a look. I think I've only burned, yeah, I need to burn one more tree. Let's burn 2 for good measure. Let's also eat some of these berries. Getting hungry. Go pick up our branches. There we go, that's our charcoal. Just find the last of the branches now. And there's some north. No, don't chop that, Wilson, you idiot. These seeds. Now, there's been a unusually low yield of carrots this time, so I will probably end up having to forage for those afterwards, but it's not too much of a bad thing. Carrots are fairly easy to find in the forested areas. And generally they actually spawn near rabbits as well, so that's good. Now I've got the branches that I need, I'm just going to collect a few more because I'll need to build more tools later date. Right, so now at this point we're actually ready to set up camp, and it's just a case of finding a good place to camp. And that will be the subject of my next video, location, where I'm going to find us a decent place to set up camp and explain my reasonings behind that. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, even though it's been a bit me hitting rocks and that's it. I hope you found it informative, and tune in next time to see how to set up your base camp. This has been Westloar, over and out.